My coworker asked me out. I'm uncomfortable because of our friendship and our huge age gap. Context. I'm 19, he's 50. I started working in a warehouse in February, and I've made a few good friends there. I'm by and large the youngest person there by at least 5+ years. One of my friends is John, who's 50. I'm not uncomfortable with older people, especially as I worked in a nursing home and made some great friends there who were all in their 80s. However, John asked me out yesterday out of nowhere. Apparently this was because of some DILF jokes I've made, but it was always part of the banter that we and our other friends had. Another one of our mutual friends is very much a joking perv, not uncomfortable, of course. He and I have gone to breakfast together a couple times, but I always took it as hanging out. When he asked me out, I was blindsided, and very uncomfortable, because I regard him as more of a kooky uncle than anything. He also has a daughter around my age, which made it creepier to me. I don't know how to approach this, and it's just incredibly hard to think about rationally. Edit for a quick clarification. I've already declined. I just don't know how to go from here. That's creepy. Good thing you said no. Make it very clear how you see the relationship and there's no chance to get romantic. I would personally feel angry, because you're so young. He should know better, and he does. It's not okay at all. You just tell him that you think of him as a kooky uncle. So no thanks. You tell him you are not interested in him romantically and are not looking for that type of relationship with him. Tell him you will strictly be friends and coworkers, nothing more than that. You don't have to explain why, you don't have to give him a reason, but if it would feel better for you, you can clear up that your jokes were only jokes and meant nothing serious of them. Be careful. This is how a young woman was murdered, recently. Politely say no. If he tries again or shows anger, then you have a serious issue. I'm so sorry you have to deal with this. It was wildly inappropriate and creepy for him to ask you out. I would suggest pulling back on being friends with him. Continue to be friendly and professional with him at work, but nothing more. No more sexual banter and no more hanging out outside of work. If your other friends are being weird about it or act like you're overreacting, I would remind them as often as you need to that he's old enough to be your grandfather and that he's the one who has made things weird. And, if he does not behave professionally at work or is making you at all uncomfortable, document everything and go to HR. This is creepy and terrible. It's not your fault and he did know better and asked you out anyway. I'm not uncomfortable with older people, especially as I worked in a nursing home. I hope you said this word by word to him when you declined his invitation. Pregnancy advice. So, just to keep in basic, I'm losing my mind. My 31M wife, 28F, is now pregnant. When we were dating and when we were married up until this point, we had 100% decided that we were not having children. She stopped taking birth control about 6 months ago without my knowledge, and I don't know how or what to feel. I don't believe in abortion, pro-choice, but it isn't something I believe is right for me and my relationship. I feel betrayed and confused and just would like some outside opinions because this is tearing me apart and to a degree destroying my marriage. Help? Please. This is a big betrayal. I encourage you to get counseling. When someone you love and trust does something like this, it is very hard to process how they can betray you like this. Taking away your consent by using you to intentionally get pregnant is wrong. Please seek therapy. I would suggest counseling because I don't think you can both discuss this without a non-partisan person involved. She broke your trust. If she wanted to have kids or had a change of heart, a conversation should have been had with you. If you didn't want kids, there might have been a separate discussion about a divorce. She went ahead with a decision without giving you a say at all. You both didn't want kids and something changed, but she didn't give you the memo. Ultimately, you have to decide if you can get over this betrayal and if you want to be a father. Yikes. What your wife did is seriously fucked up, and I'd really consider leaving her RN. You told her you didn't want kids, and without your knowledge or consent she stopped taking her BC. It's not on ND. If you don't believe in abortion for your relationship, you need to consider whether or not you want to stay or go. Though if your wife does shit like that, I'd leave. Okay, so your trust was massively violated, and I would rethink this marriage. At least get therapy to process it. But holy fuck, dude. Looking at your post history, that is a shit ton of Percocets and benzos. You're posting bags of pills and talking about the proper ratio of Xanax to alcohol? My dude, you really need to look into a substance abuse program. Nah, or one of the more secular ones, but please get some help. Heart. To me, this is the equivalent of stealthing, which is a crime in some places as it's sexual violence. It should be a crime everywhere, but the laws haven't yet caught up to needs yet. Your wife committed a sexual violence against you. If you don't want kids ever, then why not have the snip? My 27F boyfriend, 36M, of 3 years comes home unannounced. Too long did not read. My boyfriend returns from weeks-long business trips without telling me he's coming despite me asking for notice. This is his condo. He pays all the bills. I throw him money when I have extra, but this is his place. He makes $100,000 plus as a IT specialist. I do freelance as a political analyst. He's been working in his field for longer than I have, so obviously he makes more. Since we've been dating and living together, 3 years. I made $15K my first year and between $60,000 $80,000 every year since. He travels for work, and when he's on the road he comes home a few weekends a month. I usually like notice on him coming home. I want to be shaved with my hair done and a new outfit or two. I want to have groceries and freshly vacuumed floors. He never likes to give notice. In the past I've asked him to tell me what weekends to expect him home. He says I don't need to know. He thinks there should always be food in the house, it should always be clean, and I should always be ready and fuckable. These aren't crazy expectations, but we eat different food and I'd hate to buy meat waiting for him to come home knowing I eat a plant-based diet. It seems unnecessary to pay to get my hair done to let it go to waste. He says as long as I'm not cheating there is nothing to worry about. I'm not cheating, he will never come home to find another man. But I'm still bothered by his stance on the subject. Other than that, I just clean the house and shave every Friday and don't solidify any weekend plans until I wake up Saturday morning. This week he specifically told me he was not coming home. I start a new gig on Monday and planned a weekend of self-care, family and friends. He walked through the door at 1:30 a.m. and I'm drinking beer out the can on the couch with Chinese takeout containers cluttering the coffee table looking a mess. He has to book a flight to come home, so he knew he was coming. Even if he didn't give me notice, he didn't have to lie. I don't know why I'm so annoyed. He expects me to be happy to see him, but honestly I'm not. I know that this is his place and he doesn't ask me to contribute. I should consider myself blessed. But I just can't get comfortable here. In the past he's come home on days that aren't Friday, as a surprise. So anytime I hear the building creak my heart drops, thinking he's going to catch me clipping my toenails in my underwear. Part of me wants to go on with my weekend as though he weren't here and explain to him that I'd already made plans, but I don't see him accepting that. I'd rather spend my last weekend of freedom with people who aren't him. Just seems like fuel for an argument. I've already told him I'd be willing to pay him rent in exchange for notice on the weekend, but he says he doesn't need my money. I get not giving notice on coming to your own home, but when I've specifically asked over and over again, his refusal seems malicious. How can I convince him to tell me when he's coming home? Sounds like he doesn't trust you and really badly wants to catch you cheating. Aside from the notice, renting and moving put comments, you seem to be performative in front of him? Like you need to get all dolled up and cannot let him see you in your underwear clipping toenails? The fact he says you should always be ready and fuckable is a massive red flag. Seriously, WTF? Well, you need to be shameless and let him come home to whatever state you're in. If he wants you be ready, then he has to give you notice or you have to be constantly ready. TBH, the whole dynamic sounds like a giant red flag. But if you're otherwise happy with it, crack on. People who steal think everyone else steals. People who lie assume everyone lies. People who cheat assume everyone does it. It's time to get your own place. IDK what to do. I'm tired of hurting. So my wife has claimed herself as separated from me, therefore she is now single. She has taken her ring off and has made it clear that she isn't with me anymore. The only issue with that is that she still lives with me. I cannot get her out of the home because we have kids, as well as the fact that she doesn't have family or a home lined up. She is going out on dates with guys and texting them in front of me. On the weekends I get to see her get dressed up and pretty for someone else. She still has sex with me, but when I ask if she wants to come back, the answer is always the same. I need time. I need to figure out what I want. I get so mad that at times I say hurtful stuff. I feel like a bad guy, but I'm not trying to be. I'm just hurting so bad and I want to feel anything but pain. I love her and my kids so much, I just want my family back. I am not sure if it's okay that she is doing this. IDK if I'm wrong for fighting against it and not giving her space to heal. I just don't know what to do anymore. You need to get a lawyer and have them tell you how to get her to leave the house. And start the divorce. Ask her to set up a separate household. Consult a divorce attorney. She's out there getting laid, potentially. This is no way to raise kids, and it's hard on you. That's so fucked up, of her. She obviously cares little of your feelings and lacks empathy. If you want her out, file for divorce. If she is abusive in any way, including psychologically, then you could go the temporary restraining order route. I'm sorry you're suffering through this pain. I know it must hurt like nothing else. I wish you quick healing, and a short path to a loving, empathetic partner. First of all, stopping having sex with her because that will massively complicate things from a legal standpoint. Serve her with divorce papers and an eviction notice. This isn't space to heal. This is her finding the loophole to sleep around. Letting her stay there will do more damage to you and the kids. Your choices are let her keep using you or evict her so she finds her own place while you have the kids. Do you want an STD? Because this is how you get an STD.